Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Black Men Matter series on the male perspective. The podcast that's all about dispelling stereotypes and shining a light on the rich and varied experiences of Black men from all around the world. Each episode aims to broaden understanding and foster appreciation for their unique stories that often go unheard. Now, here is your host, Lana Reed, to introduce you to yet another remarkable Black man with an insightful perspective to share.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reed, and today, on this day, I have the pleasure of sitting down with a gentleman by the name of Anthony Brogdon. He is a speaker, author, film producer, and also one of my fellow podcast hosts, and he is out here sharing good Black history with the world, and I am so looking forward to spending some time with him today, learning more about the work that he is doing. But first and foremost, sir, I take a quick moment to pause and say thank you to you for making time for me today. Time is a gift. Once we give it, we cannot get it back. So I truly appreciate you setting aside this time to sit down and chat with me. And with that, sir, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Well, we're going to jump right in. I stumbled across you at first because of your book, Black Business book, but in preparation for today's show, I found out that it was actually a film before the book came to be. So I guess I should start off somewhere at the beginning here. I guess share with us the documentary, how it came to be, because I see there's some very impactful guests in there and some talking points. So I guess share with us the documentary first, and then we'll get into the book.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. If I didn't say that, I'll say that 50 times, and that you found me, and I'm excited. The short answer of what happened was I'm in Detroit, and I've always been running around the city doing different activities, things of that sort. And back in 1994, I had a Black History Month event. I held it at a Black HBCU college that was operating at the time, small, college. But I had these business owners who were all in their 60s and even 70s and 80s and 90s. One of the gentlemen who had operated their business 30 years prior to that. So they probably went back to about the 1950s and 60s. And it was just me doing it. And I found the tape like 20 years later. And I said, wow, there's something here. And so that led me on the journey to do some research on the rise of Black business in America. And I found some things that I had never been told before, many things. One of such is that there were enslaved Black people who owned businesses. And I was like, what? No one told me that. Mm-hmm. There were enslaved Black people who went to college. Mm-hmm. And so that led me to say, okay, what can I do with this film to incorporate that history in it? Well, the film was grainy. I shot it with a camcorder. I didn't think that this was going to be the journey. And so I couldn't use it. So I started off at ground zero. And 2 years later, I released Business in the Rise of Black Business in America. And the first showing was at our main museum here in Detroit, the 𝗏𝗏 Museum. And then 2 days later, I was in New York City. I had a showing in Harlem. And this is me putting this together. I'm going to tour this film across the country. And the first showing in Harlem had 10 people. I probably paid $500 for the venue, so I lost my shirt. The next showing was at the Harlem Y 2 days later, and I went from 10 to 175 people that came to that viewing. And I'm like, wow, I'm on to something. 2 weeks later, I was out in Los Angeles. Not even 2 weeks. 1 week later, I was in Los Angeles. And I had a showing at the Women's Club of LA, which at the time was one of those private clubs where all the big time actresses, hung out. We had maybe about 75 people at that. And the journey went from there to about 40 other cities, including Tulsa and Dallas and New York again, and Cincinnati and Louisville, all on my own dime. Arkansas, I mean, you can name it almost, any big city. I took the film to it. And the response was tremendous. Someone said to me, I never heard these facts before. And that knew that I was on to something special.
Mhm.
And the response, I was on to something special. And so that was businessintheblack.net. I then took it to Toronto, Canada. So I had a showing in Toronto, and it did go to London, England, without me. They didn't pay for me to come, but they did get the rights to show it a couple times in London. And the response was tremendous, because there are just so many of these amazing stories of successful Black people, men and women, that we don't know their names. And so I wasn't able to, proficient enough to have any pictures or anything. I had pictures, but anything from the families, what have you. So I had people in the film who were in their 70s and 80s, cite this information. So that gave it some dramatic look to it.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, I remember having a showing in Chicago and in other places like I had cited. And the first thing that someone asked me is, "What's wrong with Black people today?" So what I'm getting at in that point is, we have to change our mindset of how we see each other.
True.
So what I tell them, and I at the beginning of the show, and I say, now I got 15 minutes, 20 minutes of Q&A, and I'm not saying anything bad about Black people for 15 minutes. I remember I was in Philadelphia, and a lady stood up. She said, "I've never heard that before." I said, "We're going to do 15 minutes. Now, any question that you have is not going to be what's wrong with us. Because I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to belittle these people who are in my film, or the people the ancestors that came before me, us, to talk about what's wrong with us today. We're going to heighten them up. We're going to celebrate them for the time that I'm here." And I remember doing that another occasion, and I can't recall where I was. And I said, "Can you say good things about Black people?" And there was a lady stood up in the audience. She said, "I can't." I said, and all I said is 15 minutes. I'm not asking for a half an hour. I'm not asking for 16 minutes. I said, for 15 minutes, do nothing but say good things about Black people. And she said, "I can't do it." She said, "They have hurt me so bad in so many ways. Don't come to the meetings on time." You know what I mean? The plumber don't do a good job. She go to the restaurant, the food is cold. She had a couple boyfriends that didn't treat her right. She had all this trauma inside of her that she couldn't do 15 minutes.
Whoa.
And I said, "Now, hold on, sister." I said, "Can you give me 5?" She said, "I can do 5." She said, "I can do 5." And I took her from 5 to 10. When I started citing some of those things that she had seen in the movie. And I took her and the whole audience from 10 to 15. And then the lights came up. That was the end of the Q&A. And she came up to me. She said, "I'm going to try that."
There you go.
And I knew I was on to something at that point. So that was the release of Business in the Black. If I may say, this is the DVD. No one has DVD players. But back in the day,
we can get it on Roku.
It's streaming on Amazon.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, it is streaming on Amazon.
Okay.
And it's funny, when I first came out with it, I had a little bag that I would carry the DVDs in. I sold them for $10. And everywhere I went, and this is, DVD time, I would sell that DVD.
Beautiful.
And the response was just tremendous, of learning these amazing stories of our resilience, even going back to the 1800s. Because a lot of times all we think about is the beatdown. Yeah. We see the picture of the guy with the whips on his back. Yeah. We don't know the backstory about that. Yeah. Of what happened after he showed that picture, or after that picture was taken. The chains are around our neck, so on and so forth. But and I'm not saying that did not happen by no stretch.
So much
but
more.
What's the other story to
that?
And so that's what I talk about.
Okay. Is there any possibility of you going back on the road with the film so we can see and do the Q&A? And
I have no problem doing that by no stretch. If someone invites and wants to do it, I must admit, I'm not renting theaters like I did back in those days, because I did lose a few times. And I go home mad. But I give you the story of one that I lost, let's call it. I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas, because I'm on my way to Pine Bluff. I'm going to the Black College there for homecoming.
History, yeah.
And so you fly into Little Rock mostly. They don't have an airport in Pine Bluff, and so I set up a screening in Little Rock, maybe 3 weeks notice. I found a guy. He had a little cafe or something. He had a screen. It was a beautiful place, and nobody showed up. So I'm sitting there, and he didn't charge me. And you'll hear the backstory. He didn't charge me. He says, "Man," I said, he says, "I want to watch this." So me, him, and his girlfriend sat there through the 75 minutes and watched the film. And I'm in there, and I'm getting impressed too with what I had done. And he is sitting there, and he laughing like, "Man, this is big time." And he gave me $100. I said, "Oh my God." He said, "Man, I want to give you $100 for doing this movie." He had, after that, he probably, I don't know, maybe another 60 DVDs that he ordered from people he told about it for them to watch it. He ordered on their behalf or something like that. But I knew out of that showing, I sold 60 DVDs, which, that kind of covered my pain.
That's right.
That covered the pain of it all. And so that was, and so we're hungry for that.
Yeah.
We're hungry to say good things about one another, and that's what I do. And I use Black history as the medium, as the topic.
Do you think, because you and I are in the seasoned category, do you think we are doing a good job passing our history on to our young people, or do they just not get the full impact of who we are?
Well, see, if I was to say no, then I would have to belittle those who do it. You follow me?
Gotcha.
And so I'm gonna stay positive from while I'm on your air as best I possibly can. So I know people that are putting their life on the line to make sure Black history keeps alive. Okay. As you mentioned, I have a podcast. I interviewed a lady out of Florida, who has an organization called Faith in Florida, and I don't know how I found it. But she's been on the show 3-4 times, and she tells me that she gets death threats. She's a minister. She's had to have a policeman at her church service on Sunday because she's fighting to help keep Black history alive in Florida. And what they have done is signed up over 500 churches. And they give them a curriculum, they give them, they buy the literature or whatever, and disseminate that and say, these are some of the good things that you need to teach. And this is a process and a strategy from which to do it. And there's so many more stories like that. There's various organizations like Asylum and the different museums that are saying, "Come here, we got programs. Just walk in the door." And so I hope that people, and I know this is going to happen because of the efforts from on a national scale, politically, government, what have you, to try to dilute Black history, that, it brings it to light. So now it's going to have a counter kind of thing to what they want to do. Because now they're saying, you're saying we can't do it? We're going to do it. We're going to find other and more effective ways to get it done. And so it brings it more to the forefront.
That's right. And, our elders have been good about passing down our history to the next generation. So we've always had that platform of, this is all we've got. We can't depend on these governmental situations to educate ourselves. We have to kind of do it within our own community. So that's why we're happy we had the Anthony Brogdons in this world doing that.
Oh yeah, and I'm not the only one. I just have my own little niche and my own little square that I stand on to do what I do.
You also have a children's book, right?
I do. I have a children's book titled "They Did It." It's 30 rich Black people that lived in the 1800s. They just tell you their name, the year they was born, and what they did. And it's easy to read format. Even my adult book, I don't add no commentary. Well, I'm going to try to tell you what I think. I'm going to let the fact stand on its own. And I've had several messages. They tell me, I ain't never heard this before. I don't even believe it. I say, well, did you go to the reference section?
Yeah.
I tell you where I found it. I'm not lying. Some of it I found in Google. And Google took me to where it was.
Yeah.
I didn't make this up. But I do say, even in my preference, if you don't believe me, what the heck? don't it feel good? You follow me? I'm not saying I'm lying, but if why not let it just be? What if I made up the name? Don't that make you feel good? That this guy was enslaved and then he went out and owned the business once he got his freedom. And then after he owned, you know what I mean? And I can cite some of the stories from what I talk about in the book. Don't that make why you want to say no? What's wrong with that?
So give us, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone in the book is impactful, but give us one or two that stands out in the Black business book to you.
And I give these two out almost every time. And the one that I give every time is the guy by the name of Frank McHerry, born in 1777. The boy was so bad that his enslaver built the houses in the area. See, not all enslavers were farmers. Somebody got to build a house.
True.
And do all the things, right? Work the clothes, cut the hair, so on and so forth. And his guy was the guy who built the houses. Construction man, let's call him. And so he don't want to do all this hard work. He tell Frank to do it. Frank, man, he get there, he's starting to watch this guy. He know the materials and how to design the house. He say, hey, Mr. Master Man, why don't you let me do the work? He says, yeah, cool. You pretty proficient. We making money. Frank says, hey, man, come on, man, be a little fair with me. Can I keep some of the money? He says, yeah, man, okay, no problem. You're doing a good job. You're my guy type thing, He says, hey, man, I've been doing this for a while. Is there any way I can buy my freedom? He says, yeah, man, no problem. Like, give him a price. Frank bought his freedom and the freedom of 18 other people. They name him Free Frank. Then he moves off the plantation. He moves from Virginia up to Illinois. He buys land. He's a landowner now. He incorporates his own town called New Philadelphia, Illinois. And you know what he did? I'm the mayor. It's my town. And everybody who moved here, you got to respond to my rules.
There you go.
And this ain't even the 1800s. You know what I mean? This is the late 1700s.
Yeah.
Frank McHerry. There's a guy who, 𝗃𝗏𝗵𝗀. Y'all see the passion, everybody. 𝗃𝗏𝗵𝗀, he bad dude. He was born enslaved. The enslaver says, 𝗃𝗏, what I want you to do, man, you know how to work with the metals and stuff like that. And the horse and buggy in the back, the wheel came off. 𝗃𝗏, why don't you go fix it? So he go fix the wheel. That could happen. They on dirt roads, bricks and things. The strap on the horse breaks. The seat falls off. 𝗃𝗏 go fix it. 𝗃𝗏 go fix it. Now slavery ends. 𝗃𝗏, the first thing he does, he go into business fixing horse and buggies.
There you go.
Well, he gets married. He got a son named Frederick. He sends his son to Central State University in Ohio, right? One of the first students at Central State. Central State, he goes in, he studies engineering. He comes back to the family business, and now he took it to the next level because at this point, this is early 1900s, the cars are motorized. There was a Black-owned car manufacturing company called Greenfield Motors.
Beautiful.
This dude was beating Henry Ford.
Beautiful.
You know how the brothers do. We got that, now he got sunroof, he got windows, he got them in colors and leather seats, armrests.
You know how
Henry
we do.
Ford. They lasted for about 15 years. He's a pillar of his community.
Beautiful.
And what happened was his great-granddaughters found me. Found the show. They came on the show. They said they didn't even know the great-grandfather had done it. They said they were looking through the house because the house was about to be torn down, whatever. Saw some papers in a box. And it's the marketing brochures.
Whoa.
It's all of the literature from Greenfield Motors.
Whoa.
And they have heard that there's one or two cars still left somewhere in America. They said we didn't even know granddaddy had done that.
Whoa.
Oh my God. I said, really? He said, yeah. And if you look it up, like I say, go to Google or get you a book. But in any event, when you look it up, they ain't making this up. Oh, there's all kind of stories. Madam C.J. Walker was not really the first Black millionaire. Now, she had $1 million, but if you in the 1800s and you got 200,000, that could equate to $1 million in terms. Mary Ellen Pleasant had 400,000. She's out in California. She bad sister too. She bought land and found gold on her land. She got houses and brothels and banks and everything else. She doing the thing. 1800s. Mary Ellen Pleasant. It's those so kind of stories that I talk about. Elizabeth Keckley, a sister that was a fashion designer. She was bigger than all of them in her day. And what happened was the enslaver told her, said, hey, Mary, Elizabeth, go, my buttons is coming off my dress. Oh, I can do that. She sewed the buttons on. She come up with her own, way of doing it. So then it says, can I make a dress? They give her the material. She making dresses. They the nicest dresses that them white folks ever seen. You know how we do? We adding all kind of stuff, showing a little cleavage or whatever it was. She say, golly. So then the word gets out. They let her go up north to Washington, D.C. without them.
Unheard of.
You can do that. Your enslaver can let you leave and go up north. But I'm going to tell you, I got your family back here. You don't show up on Sunday at 10 o'clock, they're going to face the wrath. And we're going to come look for you.
Consequences, yeah.
Right. So it's, it's all those kind of different dynamics that I've learned about. So they would let Elizabeth go up north. She up there hanging out with the Washington elite, the big time women. Her and Marytown Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's wife, is on a first name basis. So she got money now. She tell the enslaver, she said, how much would it, how much can I give you to let me go? She let her go. She go up there, she writing books and everything about her experience. I always wondered how Frederick Douglass, who he been around talking, that's what we all thought he was, abolitionists, he talk and stuff like that. But you can't talk for free. How you make a living, Fred?
Yeah.
He charged a subscription for his newspaper. You can't get it for free.
Yeah.
It could have been a nickel, but still, that's a lot of money.
That's right.
And he wrote a book about his life that was a bestseller. And if I'm coming to town, man, you got to give me $10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an honorarium. I just can't show up. He got a house in the 𝗵𝗂 district. It's one of the largest houses in that area, right outside of Washington, D.C. If you're ever in Washington, go see it. I've been there. It's on top of a hill. Got to be about 8, 9 rooms. He looking down on the Capitol. He looks down on the Capitol.
For a black man during that time.
For a black man. That's right.
Wow.
And so it's those kind of stories.
It's so important because, a lot of times they want to sell us it's the chains, it's the bondage, but we were so much more than that. I mean, just our intellectual creativity, as you've been expressing, is just so amazing. We are some bad brothers and sisters.
Man, no, I got one. This guy, you're gonna laugh at this one. Intellectually intelligent type dude. He see his family getting ready to be sold down south. He said, I can't take it no more. I got to get out of here. He said, well, how can I escape? He came up with an idea. He built a crate box. He put himself in the box. He shipped the box from where he was to Philadelphia. He had to have some help. He had legs running out under the box to get on the boat. Somebody took the box to the boat. But let me tell you how smart he was. He wrote on the top of the box, this side up. Now, is that some smart stuff? I might not have thought of that. So he get it on the boat. This side up is it. Somebody turned it and flipped it upside down. He says that he was moments from his death. Because, the blood is gushing to his head.
Yeah.
God came in, stepped in, and told somebody, man, turn that box right side. It said this side up.
Beautiful.
And he makes it to Philadelphia. They call him Henry Box Brown. Now, my man in Philadelphia, and then people like, man, how did you get here? How did you escape? He tell them the story. He talked too much. He tell them the story. The white folks get mad. They're hearing the story too, They said, man, we got to get that dude.
Yeah.
He got to leave Philadelphia and go to Canada. I don't think he took another box ride.
True that.
He had to get out of there.
True. True that. True that.
Can I give you one more? You're gonna laugh at? Oh man, check this guy out. Shucks, I can't think of his name. He's a big dude too. He was out of South Carolina. So he enslaved. Oh man, I come up with it. He enslaved. So they told him, said, man, you got to work on the Confederate ship. You ain't got no choice. So I want you to be on the ship, and doing whatever we want you to do. So then they would sail up along the Atlantic coast, what have you, getting ready to fight against the North, whatever. But then the sailors, the white guys, before they get to the port, they go off in the woods and play. Who knows what they was doing? They playing with each other. I don't know, but that's not the story. So they go off in the woods and play. So he's seen them do this about 3-4 times. So he when he get back home, he tell his wife, say, hey, next time they go play, we leaving. So he told his wife, and all the other sailors told their wife and family, meet us at the port at 10 o'clock at night, because that's when they usually get out there and go play in the woods. And when they leave, you get on the boat, we out of here. They hijacked that boat. They hijacked the boat. My man had been watching the sailor long enough to know to put on the sailor's jacket, to know the signals to get through through the waters, where to sail. He gets up to Philadelphia. He get off the boat, take down the Confederate flag, put on the regular Northern stuff. He gets off the boat. He says, hey, man, who are you? He said, man, I stole that boat. Y'all want it? And let me go free.
You cannot tell me we are some
really apologize. If anybody, the dude was so bad, slavery ended. He moved back down to South Carolina, became a politician. Very noted.
Whoa.
Very noted politician.
We are some resilient people.
Oh my God.
We are some resilient.
And it's these kind of stories. And I'll be honest, I call it good Black history. Somebody asked me, what is that? What is good Black history?
What is good Black history?
What do you just think about it. It's Black history that's good. It's when we win.
That's right. Because so many times
and we was winning.
A lot of times, more so than we were losing. Because if we didn't win more than we were losing, we wouldn't be sitting here talking today.
Oh, no. Them people in Tulsa didn't just sit there and say, okay, kill us. They shot back. They was winning for a while of that, because they had some guns too. I've been to Tulsa. They said, man, we was winning that at the beginning. And then the white folks said, oh man, this ain't going good. So then they brought out the bombs. They bombed them people. They really got mad. And what was crazy about it, the brother that was accused of being with the white girl in the elevator, they was in love. My man married her after that. Now, the lady who introduced me was his niece, great niece, right? I was like, man, I was a little mad at him for that, though. He could have let her go.
We done went through all of this. It caused too much trouble.
Yeah, that was a little too much trouble, man. Come on, man. Let it go. But he married her. After they done got him out of jail and hundreds of people been killed.
Thank you.
He left town and married her in Massachusetts. They got the marriage certificate.
Yeah, and we done went through all this for you. We done went through all of this for you. But yeah, it's important for good Black history, because so many times, and you were talking about the sister at the filming. So many times, even we want to believe the negative of us and not the positive of us. So it's very important for us to have a perspective, understanding of good Black history.
It's a sight game. That's what it is. Man, voodoo ain't bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They tell them people, they call it voodoo. The voodoo saved this white guy. That's what and when it saved him, because what we did was, they wouldn't let us go to the hospitals.
That's right.
They ain't gonna, I don't care if you die. So we started eating dandelions and burning them and all that, smelling their, the scents of it, and started making us feel better. And the word get out, man. Them people doing something kind of crazy over there with the weeds and that kind of thing, and the herbs and stuff, and it's making us feel better. So they're gonna say, well, what do we do to psych out the game? We're gonna make it like something wrong. And we want it too. We ain't gonna call it voodoo when we want it. Yeah. But when y'all do, we're gonna call it voodoo.
Something wrong.
There's something got to be wrong with it.
I think I remember some history about one of our enslaved brothers. He brought some medicine from Africa, or some knowledge of Africa, and was responsible for, was it measles or mumps vaccine or something like that or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just incredible. And hey, I'm just so glad that you're putting. Well, let me switch, because I only got a little bit of time with you today, and I want to make sure I pack in everything. I want to talk about the podcast. How did the podcast get started? Because this ain't no easy lifestyle, this podcast stuff. And you have some phenomenal people on. I encourage everybody to go look it out. How did that all come about?
Well, the book came out in 2019. Well, the documentary in 2017. 2 years later, 2019, I come out with the book. And then COVID hit. So, whatever book signings I had or whatever I was doing, all that went by the wayside. And somebody said, you should go in the digital world and get you a podcast. And I, oh man, I don't know if I want to go in front of the camera. I'm kind of, I won't say shy dude, but nonetheless, I didn't.
No.
And so I thought about it for about 10 minutes. I said, yeah, I got to come up with a way to, keep the word going. And so 10 minutes later, I came up with the word strong inspirations. Strong is my brand word. I use that every day and on my podcast when I do an interview, because strong stands for strength, tenacity, resilience, and a sense of oneness, nobility, and grace. I've been saying that for 20 years. I wish my middle name was Strong. I really do. I should change it to Strong, because I don't even use my middle name. Nobody would know. Call me Strong.
Call me Strong.
Yeah, you can call me Strong. And so it launched in I think my first one was a high school classmate who told me that his great-great-grandfather's house was bombed in Birmingham, Alabama. And what happened, was during that, 50s or something like that. And what happened was the grandfather, went to a church, and they were trying to protect the church that he went to. They went and got his house and bombed his house. I don't know. It didn't kill anybody, though. And he tells that story. And then a young lady I knew, she ended up telling me that she got land in her family down south. And they have, 30, 40 acres passed down from the great-great-grandfather. And those were the very first two. And then since then, I've interviewed almost 700 people. I found Frederick Douglass's two-time great-grandson, and I interviewed him. And I'll be honest, it went as easy as, who am I going to interview today? Because, COVID is happening. I got time on my hands, can't leave the house, what happened. So I'm just calling, I'm thinking of things. And I said, well, Frederick Douglass. Now, I Googled that, and he's got a foundation, the Frederick Douglass Foundation. They got a telephone number. I call the number. My man answered the telephone. He don't have nothing to do either. He answered the telephone. I tell him who I am. He said, man, let's do it. I interviewed Madam C.J. Walker's granddaughter. Madam C.J. Walker only ran her business for 13 years. She worked for a Black lady before she got started. You might have saw that in the movie, that Annie Malone. And then, hey, I'm going to do my own thing. You're not listening to me. I'm tired of being up under you. I started my own. And, Annie getting mad at her. You using my formula. I mean, yeah, all them things got to have lie in it. Yeah, you got to have lie in it. It's a perm kit. All of them got lie. So she got mad at her, but nonetheless, they ended up, kind of becoming cool, I guess, at some point. And but I mean, I got a guy who, and I had to ask him. I said, this didn't make no sense. He tried to spy on a KKK rally. I said, man, that didn't make no sense, man. Didn't you think that wasn't a good idea? He said, well, what was happening is we were going to be marching the next day. They handed out these leaflets. The KKK rally is in the woods off Highway 7, in the back. He said, I got a leaflet. I said, well, we might know a way to get close, because they on the bullhorn, telling people all what they about to do. He said, man, we didn't get nearly as close as we should have got before a couple guys grabbed us, took us in front of the meeting, and was beating me. He said I was about 14 years old. He said he was beating me, man. He said, dang, that dude ain't gonna fall. He didn't say dude, he said the N-word, but he ain't gonna fall. He said, I didn't want him to see me fall.
Yeah.
Guy hit him with a chair in the back of the head. At the same time, the guy hit him from the front. He did fall in. There was a white guy in the audience who might have been with the ACLU or, some, rights organization.
Yeah.
So my man called the sheriff office. He said, man, they're killing these dudes here at the meeting. What's going on? The sheriff is at the meeting. So the sheriff said, oh my God, they know I'm here. I can't let them kill him.
Mm-hmm.
So he take the guy home, take the guy to the hospital. The guy at the hospital said, he bandaged him up. He said, I can't stay because my mom gonna think I've been killed. So he leaves the hospital and go home. The next day, he went to the KKK rally. He was blowing his horn, talking about, y'all can't stop me. And then from that point on, he said, I'm all for the rights. And so it's these kind of stories that and Black women have played a very significant role in this, as the brothers have, and stood up. Like Frederick Douglass was married 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got several kids. He had one son that committed suicide.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing that.
Yeah, he was married a long time. Big family man, so to speak. And so all that was the way of the times, and that's the good Black history.
Good Black history
that I try to talk about, and so that's what I have on the podcast. I found a white guy who found out his grandfather was in the KKK and killed the guy. He said when he found that out, he never spoke to him again, and he'd been beat up for liking Black people when he was younger, teaching at an all-Black high school. I found a white guy in Scotland who he found out his great-great-grandfather was the largest enslaver in Barbados. I found a Black guy in St. John, Virgin Islands, who said his great-great-grandfather was enslaved on this land that he owns now.
Whoa.
He owns it. And it's a tourist attraction because it's on a hill that looks over the ocean, and he built a restaurant on it and everything.
Whoa.
He said, I don't need no reparations. Every time you pay $10 to come in that fence is my reparation. He said, I'm reparated all good.
Already.
He got a sign. He said, I don't need no reparations.
Oh my
We
goodness.
own this land. They can't take it away from them. It's that kind of thing. I know several people that have bought the land that they were ancestors were once enslaved on.
Yeah, I think I read a story of that about the actress Biola Davis. She actually went back and bought the plantation that her family was enslaved on. Yeah. So.
Yeah. There's those kind. That's the good Black history that I talk about, and it talked about in the film, the book, and it's stories like that I look for, and it goes up the gamut on the podcast. It's on YouTube. I don't do them live. Just in case people don't show up on time. I don't show up on time. Cell phone rings, what have you. I don't need nobody else asking no questions. I'm pretty good at it. And then I just release, every once a week or something like that. Okay. And it's a labor of love. I don't know about how old I go. And people are now hitting me up,
Beautiful.
I love it. And it's a blessing. It made me a better person. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, to hear them stories. Well, I mean, just to hear the stories of what people were telling me, and what we went through, because like I said, I don't know it, I didn't know that could have happened. There's a story. I go real quick. The story of I was at a cookout, and I was, ran into a guy I know. We get to talking. I tell him about the podcast. He pulls me to the side. He said, I got a story to tell you then. So he comes on the show. His grandfather was almost lynched. They had the rope around his neck. And the story goes, I go real fast, I'm about the timing. It is in the 50s in Troy, Alabama. So the white man, insurance man, comes to the house to collect the premium. The wife said, I ain't got it. Can you come back? He smacks her. She smacked him back. He gets out the house. But my man comes back with his buddy about 2 hours later, and they rape her in the house. So the husband come home, he mad, he fuming, and so on. He know who it is, it's the insurance man. But it's Troy, Alabama in the 50s, and this ain't good. So, but he like, all the, caution to the side. I got to do what I can to get to the guy. Well, I'm sure he didn't really mean it. But then at about 3 o'clock in the morning, that guy and a bunch of KKK in the robes come to the house, beat him, strip him naked. They walk him down the street to the tree. They got the rope around his neck. So my man is in a Masonic order. I don't know. There's a distress call that they make. It could be just help, but whatever it is, help, or something like that. There's a white guy under the robe. He's in a Masonic order too. Feels a little compassion. He whispers in his ear, "I'm gonna let the rope go just a tad. You better run. They catch you, ain't nothing I can do." And he ended up in Detroit. And all his kids are college graduates.
Oh, wait.
It's these kind of stories. And it make you feel good when you hear it at the end, though. You know what I mean? And so that's the story. We got a lot of we got the trauma in our background, but if we say you had some and you still here, there's something to be said about that.
That's right. That's why I keep my elders behind me to let me know, reinforcing my mind, whose shoulders I stand, what they went through in the South, and if they got through all of that, like I have nothing to complain about. So
have you heard of Biddy Mason? She's in Los Angeles. She was a Black woman. She owned all the downtown. Yeah, they got a thing called Biddy Mason. I think it's Biddy Mason. Biddy Mason Day. She owned downtown. She moved away from the South, and she was a midwife. Made a lot of money. She was good at, delivering the babies. Invested the money, so on and so forth. And she bought land in LA. There's a Black guy named William Leesdorf, who's the founder of San Francisco. You know that one, dear.
I know, I've heard that one, yeah.
Come on. Black guy founded Chicago.
Yeah. I forget his name.
𝗵𝗳𝗄𝗃.
𝗵𝗵𝗃, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. And Detroit, you were in Detroit. Detroit is phenomenal for some history.
Oh, man. Shoot, the last fact in my book is Motown. I got it. Because I stopped at 1960. He was founded in 59. And they say he was the slacker of the family because his father was kind of rich. His father was, had a grocery store and stuff like that, all these pretty daughters and stuff. Barry working in the plant, but he liked to write. So he started writing some songs.
And then, where does the story go? He took what, $600 or $300 or something like that?
Yeah.
Started Motown.
I mean, that was a lot of money at the time.
Yeah. Started Motown.
Still. Yeah, he started Motown. And there is no other record label like Motown ever. It is, I mean, there have been a bunch of them that have come and gone. But like Motown, you go anywhere in the world, they know some Temptations and some Supreme.
Detroit sound.
Yeah. Yeah, the Black man did that. So when we talk about male perspective, let me give you those. And I'm do what I can to in my part. And so I thank you so much for having me here.
I got one more question. Though.
Yeah.
I know I'm taking up your time, but I want to answer something.
No, ain't taking my time. Shoot, I got time.
Okay. I want to ask because, as I was getting ready for today, and you do a lot of speaking, you're hosting or you're co-hosting an event, and it was new to me. So I want you to kind of give me some backstory about it. You're going to be at the 4th annual Juneteenth for the 102nd Colored Troop Company B. I'd never heard of that before.
Well, no, hold on. I can tell you a few things there right quick. That one is here in Detroit. A lot of towns had a Black colored troop. Well, we had our own, and it was the 102nd Company B. And so we found where they were trained at. It's a school there, a little park. There's a historical marker in their honor. So June 7th, we're having the 4th annual remembrance of that park and of that colored troop. And they came from all over the, Metro Detroit area and even out of Canada to go down there to South Carolina and kick some butt. And so that is June 7th. But before that, I'm going to Beaufort, South Carolina. Never been there. 𝗔𝗶𝗁cie country, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going down there because they have a thing called Declaration Day. It's a big thing. The lady told me about 5,000 to 10,000 people show up for this.
Beautiful.
Because that's when they found out that the colored soldiers who were killed were buried in Charleston. in a mass grave, no
Mhm.
pomp and stance. They dug up those bodies and gave them a proper burial. Then when Abraham Lincoln said the actual burial site for Civil War soldiers is in Beaufort, they dug them up again and took them to Beaufort, and that they honored that day.
Okay.
And
So
that's May 22nd through the 25th in Beaufort, South Carolina. And one more, I'm having my own festival along with the Black History Museum in Mount Bayou, Mississippi. I've never been, I'm scared of Mississippi, but I'm going down there, and you better believe I'm doing the speed limit. I might not even get in a car. They can't stop me for bike ride. I ain't looking left, I ain't looking right. I'm using my hands for signals and everything else down in that town. But I'm going to Mount Bayou, Mississippi, which is about 40 minutes outside of Memphis and stuff like that. I don't know where it is. The town
2025. We might need another green book in 2025.
Oh my God! It's at one point it had 5,000 people, but the unique story of Mount Bayou, and it was founded in 1887, is that all the slaves that came off this one plantation, the guy was kind of a cool dude, the enslaver. He allowed them to learn how to read and write and kind of operate businesses among themselves or whatever. Because I'm sure he thought, well, if I treat you right, you'll work right and you won't kill me too. You won't kill me, put stuff in my food or run and stuff. So that was his philosophy. When he died, his brother was head of the Confederacy. So he went from this guy to the brother. Well, it's the Confederacy now, eventually slavery ended. And they all moved off and they bought land, which is now Mount Bayou, Mississippi. And it was a thriving community. I mean, they had juke joints and the chitlin circuit, and they had their own hospital. They were known for their own hospital. And so it's about 1,500 people. And so it's their annual Founders Day, which is July 12th. And so when the guy told me about it, I had him on the show. I said, man, I want to come down there. And he said, well, we do the Saturday. I said, man, well, let's make it a little bigger than that. And I'll let people know. And maybe I got 2, 3, 4 followers or something that'll join me. So on the 10th, that Thursday, Friday, we're going to have seminars and sessions, learn about that and other Black history. I'm going to do some speaking. And on Friday, we're going to party in a barn and drink some moonshine and eat catfish and suck some hay. I don't mean to make like, have a good old time. Yeah, so that's that Saturday. Then, Saturday, that's that Friday. And then Saturday is what they normally do. And then church service on Sunday and then take on out. And that's July 10, 11, 12, 13. All this is on my website, which, if I may say, is businessintheblack.net. Because when you're in business, there's only 2 colors, and that's black and red. And when you're in the red, that is not good.
That's not good. So we want some
black is where you want to be.
Black
and
people.
So that's the website, businessintheblack.net, which is where you can get the book, hear about where I'm speaking. I'll be in Philadelphia next week, and then I'm in Martha's Vineyards. I'm in DC. I'm back up in Harlem. I'm throwing down, telling these stories, people. And you found me. I know I'm on the right track.
I'm on the right track. I found you.
Yeah.
Let me ask you my random question before I let you go. My random question. Let's see what I got for you, sir. This is really random. When it comes to toilet paper, is it over or under?
It don't matter.
Don't matter, as long as you got it.
Yeah, as long as it's there when I need it. Ain't nothing like not having a roll with no toilet or not enough.
Or not enough.
I don't care how it comes out.
Not enough.
I really don't care.
That's awesome. One more time, give us the website, sir.
Business, NINTHEBLACK.net.
Okay.
Businessintheblack.net. There you can find out about me. You can order the book because I cut the big man out. Amazon got enough money.
So you got to
He
get
was
it
taking some of mine. You know what I mean? So I said, shoot, man, I ain't gonna steal your credit card or nothing. It's all processed securely.
There you go.
And I'll ship it out within 24 hours. Because I got copies in the basement. And because I don't want to have them. I know what's in the book. I want you to have it as soon as possible. And so businessintheblack.net, go there, get you a copy, because I call it America's #1 Black business history book. There's no other book as thorough, easy to read, and comprehensive as this. I don't add no commentary. I ain't telling you what I think.
Straight facts, no chaser.
Straight facts, no. I call it straight, no chaser. To intoxicate your mind with this good Black history right here, my friends. I do got a couple pictures, and I got some quotes by them famous Black people too. But the rest of that, it's over about 300 and some facts. I got all of the fraternities, sororities, all the HBCUs. I got all of that in this easy to read book.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I am so excited I stumbled across you. Because like you said, so many times we hear the perspective of us being enslaved, but we was kicking butt. We still are kicking butt, and you have to know that, because it just empowers, you and the younger people coming behind. So, well, let me ask you one more question. I'm sorry. And this is because sometimes I have this conversation with people, especially younger Black folks. And they'll say, oh, I don't want to hear about that Black history. That's behind me. It don't impact me. It has no bearing in my life. What do you say to folks like that? The importance of learning their history?
Well, it has an impact, and people will use this, that it will repeat itself. And that is so true, because the other people will try it, and some in a different form, and maybe not so blatant. So if you kind of knew that it happened, you can kind of know what to look for. That's one thing. And again, it's just that inspiration behind it. I think that's terrible, paramount right there, to know who you are and who your people were, who the people were around you, who the people that gave up their lives to help you, and pay a second worth of homage to them, because them people did it and didn't even know you were coming around. They took them water hoses and them bullets and them dog bites.
That's right.
So that you can have, so let's kind of know who they are.
That's
and
right.
let's take a moment to say thank you to them.
That's
and
right.
some of the stories. Now, and I'm going to say, go back to Africa too. Once you know that there were Moors who dominated this world, what's that going to make you feel like? Just thinking that, well, we were all enslaved. No, we dominated. There was that period.
That's right.
White man flipped and called it the Dark Ages.
We even explored America, United States, before Mr. Man came here and discovered it. So, just to know, like I said, just to know how amazing we are.
It make you feel better. Let's go with that.
Make you stick your chest out a little bit more.
Yeah, make you stick your chest out. Make you not want to do some things you shouldn't be doing.
That's right.
There were people who gave it their life.
In honor of those people who came before you and went through all that.
That's right.
That's right. Sir, my spirit is full. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I don't have to tell you, keep on doing what you're doing. Hopefully we'll get another book or so or something like that, or catch up with you when you run around town speaking somewhere. So hopefully we'll be able to catch up with you. So
got it. I'm with it. Thanks for having me on your fabulous show. Good questions too. You good at it.
That is all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I'm your host, Lana Reed, and I will see everybody next time.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Black Men Matter series on the Male Perspective. This podcast is an initiative of Conversations in Color, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to uplifting Black voices. Make sure to check out our website, conversationsincolor.org, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platforms. We'll see you on the next episode.